Okay, we're going to talk more about weight gain today. I feel like the most common question that I get from people in recovery is, how do I deal with the weight gain? How do I deal with the weight gain? And I want to ask you a question. Do you ever wake up in the morning and observe your body and feel a certain way about it? Perhaps feel bloated or puffy, or maybe still feel full from the night before, and kind of do a quick recap of what you did that day before. So I know I was very guilty of this. Definitely before recovery, and even in recovery, I would wake up and I would feel all these awful feelings about my body, right? Physically, I'd feel them. Mentally, I'd be having awful thoughts about them. And I'd be like, okay, what did I do yesterday? What did I do yesterday? It's because I challenged that cheeseburger. It's because I had that extra brownie. It's because of this. It's because of that. And I'd start just like blaming the way that I felt that morning on all the things I did the day before. Now, when I wasn't in recovery, I would make that, huge change that day to not allow myself to eat those things, because I thought, okay, obviously I can't eat those. Everything I did was to prevent myself from weight gain, right? In recovery, I had to become aware that this was happening. I had to be like, okay, so when I'm waking up and I'm feeling bloated, I'm suddenly looking back at the day before and asking myself, what did I do wrong? Why did I eat too much? Is it because of that? Maybe I had too much sodium. Maybe it was the dairy that made me feel bloated. And I'd start like just a laundry list of things that I just would start freaking out about. And then I had to catch myself and be like, hold on a second. Am I behaving like someone who's not afraid of weight gain? Am I acting like someone who is not trying to avoid weight gain? And the answer was no. I was like absolutely in that moment thinking, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to correct this? That just natural reaction to feeling negative in your body and then going to how are you going to fix it is like a knee-jerk reaction. It's an autopilot, right? When you have an eating disorder, you have to become aware that that happens, and you have to pause, stop yourself in that moment before you act at all, and say, am I somebody who's acting like they're not afraid of weight gain? Because over the years, or maybe months, however long you struggled with your eating disorder, you have developed a skill. It's not a useful skill, it's a horrible skill, but you've developed a skill of figuring out how to spend every waking moment of your day in order to prevent weight gain. So every action you do, everything you eat, every plan that you make with someone, everything comes back to, how can I ensure that I don't gain weight, right? If you're that person and you're in recovery and you're still acting on those thoughts, you need to check yourself. You need to ask yourself, how on earth do I think I'm actually going to recover when everything I'm doing is still trying to prevent weight gain? So a lot of times people will say, okay, I get it. I understand that I have that fear, and I get that I'm struggling with it. How do I overcome it? And you have to understand this fear of weight gain. I feel like there's like levels of fear of weight gain. So there's like the fear that society and just our environment that we live in kind of instills in us from a young age to fear weight gain, or to view it as a bad thing to be in a bigger body. So that's here, and then you develop an eating disorder, and then that fear of weight gain escalates up to here, right? And it's completely insane. It's out of control. It feels like you'd rather die than gain a pound. That's not going to change until you start fueling your body and your brain. It's not going to go away. That's just a side effect of having an eating disorder. As you feed yourself, despite that fear is going to come back down to this level where people without eating disorders are constantly dieting and talking about losing weight and all that stuff. You're going to get back to here. But then here's the beauty of recovery. This is the part no one talks about. Through recovery, you can get your fear of weight gain all the way back down to not fearing it at all. So I feel like by going through recovery, it's actually a blessing, because you have to do a lot of work on yourself, body image, and your worth and identity separate from what you look like, because you have to recover. Because through recovery, you have to rewire those things. Whereas people that haven't struggled with eating disorders, honestly, don't. They will consistently be trying to change their body. They don't usually develop, full-blown eating disorder. Many do, but majority of them don't, right? So silver lining maybe about recovery is that it does force you to not only get your fear of weight gain back to like what you would say general populations is, but then you get to keep working to the point where you're like, actually, I can live a life in any body. I can accept myself for who I am. I can separate my worth and my identity from my body. And when you experience what it feels like to no longer feel like you have to control your weight, you're suddenly going to be like, you know what? This feels a lot nicer. Like maybe I'm going to do the work to try to figure out how to not be so afraid of this. So circling back to where I started, if you're waking up in the morning and you're letting that determine your day because you're using the data from the day before to course correct, to cater to your eating disorder, to make sure that you're staying within the limits that you need to in order to not gain weight, you're not in recovery. You're not recovering. You have to face that fear. And like I said, it's not going anywhere until you just eat through that fear. Keep eating, keep eating, keep eating. And what I hear time and time again, and this was definitely my own experience, is as I kept eating, that fear did start to come down. It was still there, but it felt like, okay, at least I have something to work with. At least I have a brain that I feel like can wrap my head around how I could possibly maybe accept this. But if you're in that starting stage and you haven't even really gone for it and pushed yourself into recovery, the more that you think about it, the more that you contemplate it, and the more you wonder about how is it going to be, is it going to be fast, is it going to be slow, is it ever going to stop? All of those thoughts are going to keep you stuck for the rest of your life. You have to just start acting, okay? So the steps that I always say, I feel like there's 3 major steps. I call them AAA. So first step is accountability, first step is awareness. You have to become aware, okay, I see this thing that I'm doing in the morning. I see that I do all this body checking, and then I decide if I'm gonna let myself eat a little more today or if I'm gonna have to restrict and compensate. Don't do that anymore. This is just an example. There's lots of things you're gonna have to become aware of in your recovery, right? And then the second step is accountability. Okay, I see this is going on. Now I need to set up a plan how to not let this happen anymore. So, insert candy bar challenge. That's what I had to do, was before I even had a chance to look in the mirror and determine if I was gonna recover or not that day, I had to eat a candy bar. So accountability, and then I told someone, okay, I'm doing this, my husband, I'm eating this candy bar in bed. You can cheer me on while I do it or not, I don't care, but I'm doing it, right? Set that up. And then the third step is that action. Then you actually do it. Then you actually, okay, my alarm went off, I grab the candy bar, I eat it. I don't go look in the mirror and then determine if I get to eat a lot of food that day or not. Okay, so awareness, accountability, action, AAA. Use this throughout your recovery as you start catching yourself and becoming aware of what are the things you're doing throughout the day that are not conducive with recovery, that are not you behaving as though someone that is not afraid of weight gain. You'll be amazed at how many things you're still doing that you're like, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm not getting anywhere in recovery, because 50%, 70%, 80% of the things I'm still doing is me acting as though I'm still terrified of weight gain, okay? So hopefully this video helped. I'm sure there will be a lot more videos to come about tackling weight gain. I wish there was just a simple solution and an answer, but I just feel like as I think about things that did help me or things that trip me up, I want to share them in videos, and hopefully they'll help you. So, okay, have a wonderful day.